Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. We're here today to meet two important people in our community. On this week's panel, we have two important personalities joining us. They've been a part of a system that's changing lives of various people around us. Selfless, passionate to serve and give back to the community, strongest soldiers of humanity who walk the extra mile to put smiles on people's faces. They've been strong pillars of our values, our traditions, that we must set an example for ourselves and the future generations. So joining today, we have Mr. Jasbir Singh and Mr. Kartik Arasu. Welcome to the panel, sir. Mr. Jasbir Singh is the founder of Sikh Australian Support for Family Violence and chairman of Sikh Interfaith Council of Victoria. He's been guiding Sikh volunteers to help and support distressed people who are in need. He has he's been a voice of several victims, and he's been responsible for changing a lot of people's lives with their psychological needs. And it's an immense pleasure to have you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for introducing me. But I think it's a lot of teamwork and God's grace. And to all those listeners, Sat Sri Akal, Namsakaran, and Vanakkam.
Thank you so much, sir. And also joining us today is Mr. Kartik Arasu. He's a social and a political activist. He's been a voice of students who've been struggling due to the pandemic that recently happened. And he has been a great advocate of community in various facets. Kartik is the founder and president of Australian Indian Sports Council. He's also the coordinator of International Student Support Group in Australia, which is working to support international students who need help during the crisis. This group is also lobbying both the universities and government, coordinating with them to appeal and support international students to overcome this crisis. A very warm welcome to you, Kartik. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Vamsi, for having me. Vanakkam for all the viewers, and namaste as well. Thank you for having me.
Always, it's always a pleasure. So the community very well knows you both, the service that you've been giving to the people in the community. A lot of people already know you. A lot of people have been influenced by you. But just to know more about yourself, can we please have a small introduction about you and your organization, starting from Mr. Jasbir?
Okay. First and foremost, my name has been introduced. I'm presently the chair of the Sikh Interfaith Council of Victoria, which is an interfaith Sikh body in Victoria, where we have a group of committee, small group, that we work with all the various faiths in Victoria to promote racial and religious harmony and social cohesion among all faiths. And we go and present about what Sikh faith is all about. People can understand the concept of Sikhism in the Australian context. So in the Sikh Interfaith Council of Victoria, we are part of a lot of interfaith networks across Victoria, and we are also members of the Faith Community Council. And above that, there is a MEG, Multi-Faith Advisory Group, which is chaired by the chairperson of Victoria Multicultural Commission. So we also sit there. That is the main body of all faith leaders to sit down there and discuss interfaith issues to bring the community together in terms of commonalities, and also advise the government, the state government, of any religious issues or something they want to communicate with the community at that level. So under this Sikh interfaith, we also have primary, secondary schools, councils, organization visiting our gurdwaras to have understanding of Sikhism. So we go to the Gurdwara and we have schools visiting. We present to them what Sikhism is all about on a PowerPoint, and there's a Q&A, and then we give them the langar, which is the free vegetarian community kitchen food. That is the other program we do. At the same time, we're also running a hospital chaplaincy program where we visit the hospitals to give spiritual and religious support to the patients in hospital. So that is under the Sikh Interfaith Council of Victoria, what we do in a nutshell. Now, in terms of the Sikh Australian Support for Family Violence, for the poster that you see behind me, this was founded way back in 2015. I was involved in the program called Challenge Family Violence Program, which was initiated by the Department of Justice, funded by them, with cases and interfaith network to train faith leaders to bring the message of what is family violence and how to prevent family violence within communities. So at that time, I went there with a 2 years program, and we developed a resource which has saying from all the different faiths that speaks out against gender inequality and family violence. So since then, I started running this awareness in my own community, and slowly the need grew where people wanted reference or asked me which organization represented. Then we came about registering this organization called Australian Support for Family Violence, and we run this program called Healthy Family, Healthy Relationship. So this program is to create awareness of the realities of family violence within the Australian, Sikh, Indian, and cross-cultural communities, and also to provide them support and refer them out to the various services that can support them. So we don't reinvent the wheel. All that's available, all the services. So we try to refer them more to the culturally sensitive services who understand uh, how to deal with new arrivals or migrant or call community. So we provide them support this through this process. So the minute somebody calls, sometimes we have our migrant parents or Indian parents or Sikh ladies who are a bit reluctant to come forward to report a family violence. They will never pick up and call people. They're very afraid. So there's a lot of stigma going on. People will say you're talking bad about your family outside. You're going to give your family a bad name. And there's so many things to take into consideration. Where will I live? What's going to happen to my family? Financially? Who's going to support me? So all these can affect a person even coming forward to report. So in my workshops, when I run, after the workshop, I do get even men also approach me that they're having problem at home. So our job is not to break up families, but to do prevention work so that families can stay together. So in that sense, when they come to me, and then we give them a bit of empowerment, to have that confidence to seek help, and then we refer them out to the various organization and provide support from behind. So that is what we basically do when we have new victims coming forward and asking for help. So we run a lot of focus group seminar. I run a women empowerment group and also a men's group. So recently, about 2 years ago, we were given some funding, I think, together with Cardinia Shire Council and WISE, Women Health Southeast. So we partnered together to create this program called Train the Trainer, to train other community educators to take on this program for healthy family, healthy relationship, and run within their own community. So we are running information session. I'll send to you some of the flyers that we're already doing now. So basically, we want to train a Hindu, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Christian, an African background, anyone to take on this program, attend our 3 days professional training, and then they go on and run this awareness program within their community. Now, in this program, we talk about, first session, we might talk about what are some of the challenges you face coming to Australia when you're settling, what are the problems. Even men face problems. What I also do is create a space for men for their voice to be heard. Because sometimes men feel their voice are not heard. So we create a space. We have this men and women group, break up in group, then they come back and they present. When I was a man, I come to Australia, I couldn't find a job. I felt useless. My wife found a job. I couldn't find a job. I felt disempowered. I come here, I don't know so many things. So when they shift from India to here, or any country for this matter, they always find these challenges. It could be financial, could be employment, could be isolation, loss from the family connection, the relations not there, the extended family not there to help, the new environment, making new friends, re-establishing their social network. All these challenges can affect a family settling down in Australia. And so when this happens, and children go to school, they come back. For the children, I go to school in Australia, I come back to home is India again. So they are also trying to maneuver between two cultures, because at home we also encourage parents to maintain their culture. How to find the common middle ground where there is harmony at home. So when children don't listen, there's stress at home with all the various stresses. Then you can see, the husband and wife start to quarrel and pick on each other. And most of the time, and this is based on statistics, that in the family violence case, more women are abused because the stat shows 95% of the time, the police report, abuse the abused gender is the female, and there's 5% by male abuse. What we do is we do prevention. So it's primary prevention to discuss with families how they can do respectful communication at home, respectful, uh, dealing with each other, whether it's with the children, the wife, the husband, how to have that respectful relationship at home. So there's harmony. It's not that easy to explain. That's why we have a previous talk, and we unpack all the stresses or the challenges they go through while settling, and even now after settling, after buying a house, there's still other problems to come. And children acting out. And when children become teenager, got teenager issues, girlfriend, boyfriend issue, how to deal with it. If you are not calm, if you are not cool, it's going to be difficult. How to understand the feelings of your husband or your wife and your children. So sometimes we don't acknowledge when somebody is sad. We just say, just be quiet, put out a smile, you'll be all right. Everything will be all right. On the top, everything looks okay, but below, underneath, is just like an iceberg example. In the water, on the top, you see a small iceberg, but below the water is a huge boulder. And that's the underlying issues that all of us carry. We have a lot of traumas, we have a lot of baggage that we carry around, and that can affect our relationship in the house, be it, and we know, as it's quite common in within the Indian and Sikh community, the in-laws interference is also not easy to deal. Grandparents wanting done this way, girl parents want things done that way. So while these couples are settling in Australia, there are multitude and different layers of challenges they got to maneuver between to ensure the family can move on peacefully. So we try to address all these issues within that 3 weeks session, which I would encourage as many people, and when we are running, to attend. And we run it in English, and if there's Punjabi speaking, we speak in Punjabi. But going forward, we get to move for Tamil or any other language speaking. That's why we are training up other community leaders. It could be you, it could be any one of you, to take it up and run within your community, and we will provide you the support to run it. So that's basically what I'm doing in this space in the family violence. So we are now running information session, and soon we will be running training to train other community educators to take on this program and run within the whole community. I'm sorry if I'm speaking a lot, so let me know what you want me to
Uh, Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that. That sounds like that's the need of the hour, to break the stereotype and to reach out to the people who actually help you. Um, that psychological support that people need and which they don't often talk about. I think you're doing I would say, the job that's actually most needed at this hour, to calm the minds of people, to look beneath the tip of the iceberg. I think that's an incredible thing to do. That was so great to know about. Thanks a lot for that information. Can we now have Mr. Karthik Arasu to give an introduction about how it started and what your values are and what your vision and mission for the organization?
Sure. But I think Jasbir ji wanted to say something.
No,
Just
it's okay. I just want to say, during this COVID-19 lockdown, the numbers of family violence happening is increasing. That's all.
It's an unfortunate reality, Jasbir ji. Thanks, Vamsi. And it's very hard to follow that introduction from Jasbir ji. So we are just starting up. We are a voluntary organization, Australian India Sports Council, which I am part of. I founded with other like-minded friends. This organization was initially formed to support the sports persons, the kids who cannot get the access to certain sporting needs, or or the training or the kids, whatever it is back home in India. We wanted to help them whichever way we can contribute to them, and use that sports excellence as a vehicle for change for them and for the entire community. That's how it started, but now we have expanded whatever we could do. Even in Australia, we are trying to do with the support of great friends, and every one of us is a volunteer in this organization. And wherever the need is, we try to engage there and fulfill within our capacity. I'm also part of another organization where I'm founder patron for Forum for Indian Australians. We have like-minded people. Once again, they're part of that organization where we do take up social causes, and we engage with the community. Whatever need which we see fit to address. Even the domestic violence issue, we have actually conducted a program for domestic violence against men, for that matter, and also various other women's welfare programs, and so many programs we have done that, and also work with many other organizations, whichever is supporting the community. Wherever we need to serve the community, whichever is best way we can serve. I try to engage myself there in the best of my ability and do the service. And it's as a volunteer, and the community has given a lot to me when I came new to this country almost 21 years ago, and I'm trying to, I can never repay it, so I'm trying to do as much as I can back. And every day we are learning some things, and every day we are meeting great people, and we're trying to contribute as much as we can. And with God's grace and great friends, we are able to achieve a little bit so far.
That is so great to know. That is so great to know. It's very touching when you said that it would take a long time for you to repay the debt that the community gave you. That was really touching to know. Thanks a lot for that, Karthik. Just adding on to that, I realized that for today's evening, the people who are involved with us, both the personalities who are involved with us, the most common thing here is that both of you are trying to solve one single problem, that is to improve the quality of people's lives by addressing the most important part of it, which is the mindset and the psychology of life, basically, and enrich the quality of life how you do it. So to begin with, Jaspirji, I just wanted to ask you, how do you solve challenges of people's problems? Like, how do you actually tackle them, and how do you approach that?
Well, again, depends on what kind of problem you are referring to. Is it a family problem? Is it a community in terms of settlement problem? Or is it in terms of, COVID-19? Later, we might even touch on that, on international students struggling because, they are working part-time to pay their fees, and suddenly all the cafes are closed. So their income is very badly hit. And it's not easy. We have seen more international students from India. They come here. They normally sell the land or take a loan, and then they come here. So they have no more source of backup from India, and it's make it or break it here. So it's very stressful for them. So in terms of the food here, first, I just want to touch on that. The Sikh Volunteers Australia is doing an awesome job. And sometimes I work with them. I'm not the main advisor, like you mentioned earlier. They have many good advisors. They have many good workers. I'm just one of the small ones, just helping them. But the Gurdwaras, when we heard that the news that, when the government said international students do not have any financial aid when the very beginning onset, and then all the Gurdwaras and Sikh organization in Victoria, and I think even in other states in Australia, they started having special posters out to say, hey, all international students, do not worry. We will still support you with groceries, food, and I know one place of worship even offered some money to those really who are in need. So I personally volunteer with the Sikh Volunteer Australia to do and deliver to one of the universities. And there were 20 students who came out and pick up the food. And this goes on daily, and it's still going on now. So recently, apart from all the Gurdwaras, we tied up with Swinburne University under the Sikh Interfaith Council of Victoria. We partnered with them, and we spoke to 5 different Gurdwaras, and we created an event right on their website in with this Swinburne University, and or any international student who need food, they just go online and they book, and then that then comes to us, and then we filter the list of those who need the food and send to the various gurdwaras according to the LGAs, local government areas, wherever they are, their areas. And then the student, wherever they're living, they go to 5 areas and just pick up the food and go without any question asked. And again, there's no criteria. You just say you need food and it's given, no question asked. Doesn't matter you are from any faith, religion, race, creed, status, we don't care. The idea is to serve selflessly without expecting anything in return or without question. And that is still going on. That's one area. The other area we are helping now is under the SICK, Australian Support for Family Violence. People have problems. I mean, I can give so many examples. But what I'm doing now is during this lockdown, we are running an online Zoom uh, workshop session. Is like how you're doing, touching base with how our parents and families coping at home. So I get families coming online and talking about what are the stresses and challenges they're facing during this lockdown, where whole day the husband is at home and the wife is at home and the children are at home. Then you can imagine the chaos. I mean, if you have fun and game, that's fine. But I mean, I'm speaking of men, and we know as men, we're always working and come back in the evening. But imagine you at home the whole day, not used to it, and you're looking and you're picking on the children. Why are you doing this? And then you pick on your wife. Why are you doing like that? Why are you doing like that? So all these can affect the dynamics at home, and the routine that the children are used to, and the children also not following the routine because tomorrow morning no school, sleeping late. So all these things have gone a bit out of the window, and how to help parents to deal with the children in terms of the parenting skill. We share with them the strategies, and then we talk to them about how do you identify the triggers of your anger. What is your trigger when you get angry? Which part of your body tells you you're getting angry? Do you get hot-headed? You get neck cramp, or your fingers wet palms? How do you know you're getting angry? And then you talk about what can you do to cool yourself down. You see, so being aware of each other's stresses and being aware of your own stresses helps them to overcome whatever little. All you need is a small spark. Why? The ego. And we know sometimes we men have this ego issue, and we do talk about it. And of course, ego is not just based on gender, it can happen to anyone. I'm just talking about myself. So ego is something, if we can bring it down, then things become easier. So we always tell parents, the children, when you push, the children push back. When you push, children push back. Same with relationship. But if you push, there is resistance, you have to push back. But if you don't push, there is no resistance. Then there is no quarreling with the children. You step back first and then say, okay, why is this happening? Why you're quarreling? What can be done differently? What has worked before? So there are various problems, and whether it's parenting issues or husband-wife issues. So if somebody tell me I got, a parent say my child saying nobody likes me, no one my friend is calling me, or my brother sister not talking to me, I think nobody likes me, everybody hates me. We do a bit of reality check. Okay, so what happened? Who actually didn't like you? You're talking about this brother, or that friend, or this friend. So you say, oh, only this and that. Okay, so these are the two people. So what's the issue? So it's not actually everybody don't like you. It's just these two. So that's a bit of reality check. We do a bit on resilience. Resilience is building confidence in self. And the other thing we do about is self-care. If you don't love yourself, nobody can love you. If you don't respect yourself, nobody will respect you. So everything starts with your own self. You see, I mean, the scriptures and the words of wisdom also say this: man, know thyself, or human, know thyself. Who are you? Who are you inside? You see, once you know yourself inside, you're able to then regulate your emotions. You know you're getting angry. You know this is going to happen. You know your kid's going to play out because they are kids. Sometimes we forget children are children. We shout at them. Then children also learn, to communicate is a shout. They also shout back at their own brothers and sisters because that's how we communicate with them. But children do a lot of role modeling. They see what we do. It's called children see, children do. So we also run videos. We show them videos on parenting. We share strategies, and sometimes we in a group we ask all the parents, okay, this parent got this issue. Anybody got any you know solution? And it's not me. All the parents give different solution, and then I give my 2 cents worth, and then they have more than one solution. Then we tell them this one solution is not going to work for you. You have to go home with it to suit your family culture. Now, when I say culture, there are two types of culture. One is the culture where Indian culture, there's a Western culture. That's a different culture. The culture I'm talking about is the culture in your home. What is the culture in your home? For the culture in my home, for example, everybody walking must take off the shoe and say, greet your mom, greet your dad, or wash your hand. That's a culture. And in our house, we don't put our feet on the table. That's your house culture. So that's your individual dynamic of the house. So they have to go home, and then before they want to implement anything, we ask parents or couples, before you want to talk or solve anything or put in a strategy, ask yourself, are you in a relaxed state of mind before you can use the strategy with your child? If we say talk to your child or teach your child something, you cannot say, come here, sit down, I'm going to tell you something. The child will not listen. You see, you must sit down with the child and say, oh, by the way, oh, that's enough. You have to be with them. And then slowly say, you know what? Yesterday, when you shouted at mommy felt very sad, because mommy loved you. That will be more effective with the child and say, you dare, you shout at me. So when we say this, then the child said, you tell me not to shout at me, but you're shouting at me and telling me not to shout at you. So it kinds of contradict that not wanting to shout, and we shout and say by not to shout. So there are so many strategies. And coming back to your question again, how you solve problem depends. We have to find out more information. That's why we ask parents. Okay, say, oh, I feel I feel I'm not a good mom, or I feel I'm not a good enough father. Okay, so what are you trying to say? Is it because you're not able to finish your housework, or your income is affected? You need to unpack further to find out what is the real problem, because sometimes at the top, people will give you something different, but below is something else happening. I have worked with couples in Singapore. I'm from Singapore. So I moved here 10 years ago, and I used to work in SINDA. Before that, I used to work in Sikh Welfare Council. It's the organization who look into Sikh community, and SINDA is an Indian organization. They look into all Indians, including Sikhs, who have social issue, education, and so many other programs. But I was in the Family Service Center, which does a lot of social work and counseling. So even there in Singapore, when I was working, a couple came to me, and the couple said, we are going for divorce, and the parents say, Jasmine, can you help them? So they sat with me, and then when we talk and unpack, okay, this happened, that happened, this happened, she said this, he said that, he said that, all the way back, you won't believe this couple. In the end, you all started from the wife said, there is a little Colgate, the the toothpaste. The wife say you must press from behind to call it. Husband press here, so the Colgate look like a snake, and forget to cover back. So from there, become angry. Why you did that? Oh, what you? Then the husband pick. Okay, you do that, and he purposely do it. Then he come back, he get angry, he throw the shirt on the couch. Don't want to hang behind the door. You throw that. And then sometimes, I mean, this, like you mentioned just now, there are many taboo issues which our Indian community doesn't want to discuss. And that's intimacy. Sometime in the bedroom, things are not working well between the couple in terms of the intimacy, and it can affect the behavior after that. And I have seen men who, and he says, well, she don't want to do this, we're not being loving, and then he comes out, he takes out the anger outside through something else. So things escalate from one to another. Then say, your mother said this, your mother also said this, in-law said this, in-law. So the thing escalate, come up, okay, we want to file for divorce. But if you unpack the thing, it took a while, 2 to 3 hours, but we found out it started from there. I said, When was the time you met? How was your honeymoon period? Beautiful? Yes. You went off holidays? Beautiful. You came back, you left together. When did it start? Think of those good days. So helping them to relive the good days sometimes can positize the mind. Then I say, can you tell me three good things about your wife? And ask the husband, can you tell me three good things about your husband? So when they start to see the positive in each other, slowly the mind changes. Don't forget, when we become negative and we become upset with people, the only thing we can think of is bad things of that person. We'll never think, okay, I'm angry with you, I'm going to think all the negative thing in you and start picking on all the negative thing. And this is very common of the human psychology. We just want to pick on the negative in you because I'm now angry with you. I'm not going to see the good in you. So we try to facilitate, try to see the good in someone. Then you will start to change because when you see the good in someone, that someone will start to see the good in you. And it takes a while. So I hope that kind of addresses your question in a
Absolutely.
nutshell. It's complicated, but
Absolutely. Those were profound words of wisdom from someone with a lot of experience. You took us deep into the human mindset, how it works and how it thinks and how we react, the emotional side of things. I think that was really interesting. The physiological and the psychological aspects of how the mind works and how we tackle emotions. That was really interesting. Jaspreet. Thanks a lot for that. But having said that, you also spoke about culture and the most common condition that we encounter from people who come from overseas is culture shock when they know that they're brought up in one culture and then they have to mingle into another culture and they undergo a culture shock. So I know that Karthik has been working with a lot of international students, and as you know, that international students they give up everything pretty much, the house they grew up in, the family and friends that they grew up with, and they come here to explore something new for their careers. And the first thing they encounter is a culture shock that everything here is totally different. The way the business runs, the way people talk, the way people perceive each other, it's totally different. So one impact of that will be a psychological depression among students who feel that they don't feel home, they feel homesick and things like that, especially when during times of pandemic due to COVID-19, when emotionally, psychologically, financially also people get affected. So Karthik, can you please explain to us in terms of how your experiences have been with these international students, how you've been helping them solve the problems, and yeah, just a picture of that.
Thanks, Ashad. With regards to these international students, what's happening now because of the COVID pandemic is completely different. Previously, there was no issues like that. International students came here. Initially, they had a little bit of homesick, but nowadays, the children who come here to study, they are well prepared. They know about Australia much better. Internet has made them, made the world very smaller nowadays. So they know much about Australia and where to go, what to do. They come prepared. But the one thing they miss is the comfort of the home. The family back home, where they are always cushioned from any negativity. But when they come here, they're all out on their own. They have to face everything, both the positives and the negatives. On top of it, they have to study and make some wages to sustain their living here. Some even work very hard to get pay some of the fees. So those things they were comfortably doing it, but COVID-19 when it happened, it just gave a shock to everyone, and it's still we are in that shock. We're still trying to work through how we can make this lives of these students somewhere comfortable. We can't make it better, but at least comfortable. What they are going through now is tremendous pressure. I wish they don't go through it, but they are the most vulnerable. They are not getting any support, in terms of, family. Family is not here. That's, if you don't have money, if you don't have food, family is most important. When there is family, you can close your eyes peacefully at night, but the family is not there. So we can't replace family, but what me and our team, I represent international student support group. There are so many organizations which is part of it across Australia, and all these organizations have just come and become part of it by themselves. They want to support the international students. They are not an international student based organization. We are all different organizations, and they have volunteered their time, money, and their expertise to help the students in some way or the other. We are trying to give them the best what we can, but there's a lot more to be done. We are also engaging with the universities, and also we are writing letters to the government quite consistently, asking them, requesting them, and lobbying them for the needs of the students, so that it can help them in much better way. What they are going through right now, it won't be, it's not a permanent thing. Once everything settles down, hopefully the life goes back to normal, but sustaining till then is the issue. And and really, proud of the students who are doing it really good. Some students are actually helping the other students who are in a better position, actually helping other students who are not in the good position. So it's really proud to see that happening, and we are actually learning from them. They are very supportive of what we do, and they are actually engaging us most effectively. So we are not solving their problems. We are trying to make the problems smaller, and they are actually helping us do that.
That's quite interesting. So, how are you working with the universities and the government to help these international students? Are you involving with them actively, talking to them on behalf of students, advocating their concerns to the universities? Or can you please throw some more light on that?
Yes. See, when this initially started, way back in March itself, when before this issue picked up pace, the early March, when this initially started, we have written to all the university vice chancellors and also to the federal government. Prime Minister, Education Minister, Immigration Minister, Multicultural Minister. We have written to pretty much everyone, and also to the state governments. We have written asking. We had a very simple, basic appeals. We had a set of things which we asked to be provided. And slowly, most of the universities wrote back to us. Most of the vice chancellors replied back, and what sort of process they are doing, and the financial incentives the universities are giving came after that. We have tried to engage with the universities in an effective approach. What they want, we have given the stand of the students, what they're expecting. Even though we didn't get what we wanted, but most of the universities are trying to give back some kind of financial assistance. Most of them have come up with a package. The most vulnerable in here is the TAFE students. The students who are doing not in the universities, but in TAFEs and RTOs, they are not receiving any support from their education providers. Unfortunately, because of the TAFEs and RTOs are not in a better position to give any financial packages from their standing, but they are the most vulnerable, what we are seeing now. So we have written to the federal government to give some kind of financial assistance to these students. And also the most important thing what we are trying to highlight right now is the visa restrictions. Most of the students who are in the process of finishing their course, they don't get that extra visa time to complete their course. And also the ones who have completed the course, they have a very small window to find a job. Now, this period, no one can find a job, and they are not able to do the course, what they were doing, the way they were doing before. It's all online model. So we are requested the government to give a blanket visa extension, 6 months for all the student visas, and up to 12 months for all the temporary residents who have finished their course, so that they can better prepare themselves for the next course of life, what they're going through. We have not received any positive response from the government, but we are lobbying. When I say we, there are various organizations which is lobbying, and we are constantly writing and engaging. We have spoken to the government bodies as well. Hopefully, we will get some kind of relief for the students soon. And these are the things we are doing, engaging with the government and the universities. When I say that, other than that, we are speaking to so many student bodies. Finding out where is the requirement, and how we can fulfill the requirement. We have been on the ground delivering groceries. Jasbir ji mentioned earlier, gurdwaras were delivering, cooked food, right from the beginning of this COVID-19 issue. You would have seen gurdwaras and temples, Hindu temples, started delivering cooked food to the students. And some gurdwaras and some temples and some other cultural and religious-based organizations, they were also giving groceries. But the number of students are in thousands. So what we are giving is never enough. So we are also part of that delivering. Our organization is also giving grocery kits to students. Whoever is asking, we don't judge them, we don't question them. We just, one of our volunteer will go and deliver it to the students. We have given to hundreds of students, various organizations, which is part of International Student Support Group. We have a Facebook group to facilitate this International Student Support Hotline, where the students are there and people who want to help students, they are all part of it. So we try to do as much as we can in terms of groceries. And the other thing, what we do is accommodation support. So we don't pay them rent or anything, no financial assistance as such, but we try to find accommodations through the community. Our community is such a great community. When you put a request for, this student needs help and we need probably, accommodation for 3 months, immediately we get responses from 30 different people saying that I have my room, I can give a spare room, food is taken care of, accommodation care. So we are trying to provide that assistance through the community. Same thing with the laptops. When a student requests for a laptop, second-hand laptops, we put it on the group, and straight away the community is coming out with open arms and helping them. So these are the things we are trying to do, and there are a few other things also we are supporting the students. And one thing is mental health. Mental health well-being of the students. I'm a multicultural ambassador for Mental Health Foundation as well. Mental Health Foundation is doing a great job. They are doing a free mental health service, support counseling service as well. So we're trying to direct the students who are coming to us and who are asking us. We're trying to direct to Mental Health Foundation. And there are various other organizations as well, which is looking after the mental health well-being for the students. Thank you.
That sounds so good. So what are the common challenges you're facing, Jasbir? Because you handle a lot of different area, you're tapping into different domains of solving people's problems. So what are the challenges that you as an organization are facing right now? Could it be with time or the resources or anything that you can come up with? What do you think is like the most common challenge that you're going through in these recent times?
I think the biggest challenge is we are all volunteers. We got a full-time job, and we got to take time off from job or evenings and weekends to do all this work. I believe Kartik has you guys, Kartik, are doing an awesome job. You're giving laptops, you're helping them with accommodations. It's not an easy thing to do. Once you give somebody accommodation, you got to follow up and make sure they are, there's no issue in the home. If there's issue in the home, the owner will get back to you. So it's not an easy place to be. So it's a lot of work. I can say I give you accommodation. It doesn't end there. You got to monitor if any complaint comes in. You give a laptop, something happened, a laptop. So it's as much as you give the food also, you can get some students say, oh, how come this like that, sometimes that like that. So all these small bits and pieces which are not seen in the front, there's a lot of back end work that goes in. So number one, we got no funding. We operate from zero funding. And all the Hindu temples and the Gurdwaras are suffering, and I think all the other places are suffering the same thing. All the places of worship are closed, gurdwaras are closed, temples are closed. Now only they started opening 10, 20 people allowed, but their donation has gone down. Now, if I can give you an example of, give you the Sikh Volunteers Australia, all right? They recently opened up their new community kitchen, okay, through donation. They managed to get it done. And at that time, the number they have delivered was 54,000 meals during this COVID period, which was, I think, 40 to 50 over days. So that's 54,000 meals. Okay, so they do daily. So they have total about 54,000. Now, if you put all the gurdwaras together, the gurdwaras, there are some gurdwaras deliver, some students just pick up every morning. They fill up the table at the gate, and some they drive through the Gurdwara and drive out the other way, and they just take, and they can go into hundreds of thousand meals, are given up every day, even until today at this moment. So all these costs, the biggest challenge is financial backing or funding. So even the Gurdwaras have gone into their savings to make sure this food, because in our faith, langar is something, is community, is based on humanity. It can never and cannot end, no matter what. So all individuals, whoever can donate $1, $2, or somebody brings a ration to the Gurdwara or the Hindu temple, I think is a community helping community. So, but the biggest challenge again, the overheads, the cost of the operation of the Gurdwara still continues. If the building is under mortgage or payment, it still continues. So all these overheads are there. But I think community is doing their bit to help, all the other communities. So that is one challenge. Second challenge is time. Is you have to take out time from your own work to do this. And three is time away from your family. There's so many risks involved. So that's why when they pick up the food or when we deliver the food, I know with the sick volunteer, I can talk about that one. They have a little app. You book in online, and they'll give me a whole run on the app. I just click on the app. They'll tell me there are 15 deliveries. So just like a Uber, I click. It will open up in the map. I go to deliver. I put outside the door. Come back to my car. I click which. When I click which, a text message will go to the person's house. He will know the food is outside. He will open the door, pick up. I won't even get to see I've driven off by then. So this way we take precautions, and it's not easy preparing food because the challenges are there. When they firstly started, only two people allowed, or the priest who's living in the Gurdwara or the temple can be there. Even committee members were not allowed to go in. Now imagine having to cook hundreds of meals a day. The poor priest and his wife, they have to cut the vegetables, cook themselves, and then the others pick up and go. Because initially, all the faith communities were worried, what is police come and spot check, and they get a fine. So, and people were taking a lot of precautions. So the challenges was manpower to be at a place to prepare food when the restrictions were there, not allowing manpower to be there with a group to prepare food. So that was not easy. So these are some of the challenges that I can think of where food delivery is concerned. On the part of the family violence space, the challenge is under the lockdown, where is the victim going to go? Unless there is a certain severity of the case, then our watch or all the other agencies that provide accommodation, then they go. Otherwise, they have to live in the house. So the biggest challenge was families living together 24 hours a day in the whole house. They are locked down. They got nowhere to go. And similarly with international students having to stay in the home every day, nowhere to go. They can't go anywhere. Like what Karthik said, family is overseas. They feel lonely. There's so many mental health issues, stresses that do happen in the family, whether they are students or whether they are just families locked down, can't go anywhere. Even me, I was working from home, and I've never sat in front of the screen for 10 to 12 hours. I started getting backache, neck pain, go to a chiropractor. He had to straighten my spine again. So there's so many things. There's physical, there's mental, there's psychological, there's financial, there's religious, you name it. There's so many challenges. So it depends on each individual family. That's why having this reaching out, like what Karthik and everyone else is doing, all the gurdwaras, all the Hindu temples, the mosques, everyone is doing. The churches are also doing it. Is to reaching out to community and say, hey, we are here for you. You can talk to me. My number is going out. I've not advertised my number as a hotline, but it has become a natural hotline. People start calling. I got talk with each other. So I try to do collective intervention so that things can remain cool and don't explode. And I know the faith communities, if I'm not mistaken, until today has got no funding from the government, because we are helping the community, not just international students. We are also helping citizens of Australia. We are also helping PRs who are under lockdown, under COVID-19 isolation. Those who are after positive, they were home, they cannot go out. You see, we are also getting there, but we have yet to get any funding from the government to help. That was another challenge. So all these challenges, you know, can get to you. But I think again, if we are passionate, and like what our faith teaches to see God in all. So the more I serve you, the more I see God. The more I serve you, the more I see God. So I am okay. That is the spiritual thing that keeps you going. That you are serving God. And in our faith, it's not that, oh, I help you. No, I cannot help you. Who am I to help you? I can only say and pray and say, thank you. You are receiving the food, but I will say thank you that you have created opportunity for me to serve you. So you are bigger than me, not I bigger than you because I give you food. No, because our Guru teaches us that you should be thankful that God has created an opportunity for you to serve others. So don't put yourself up on a pedestal. You need to go down and say, those receiving, I'm blessed to be able to serve them. So once we have that concept, then I think we are in the right direction. I know sometimes people do get carried away. The I-ness, I also sometimes get carried away, but I need to check myself. And there's the same thing we share. That's why in our this program, Healthy Family, Healthy Relationship, there is a religious element. That means when you do this, you can quote the Hindu scriptures, you can quote the religious scriptures of any faith, Christian faith, the Quran, or if the Tamil have their own scriptures, you can quote the scriptures and say, this is what God said. You must respect each other. You must respect the children. You must respect the woman. You see, I know in the Hindu, the theology, there is Parvati, they are lady goddess. So how can you not respect woman? Woman must be respected. Children must be respected. God is not a man God. God got no gender. God is genderless. So if and I know sometimes it's patriarchal that men feel we are in charge. I'm the one. Only God listens to me. No, no. God listens to the heart of the person who's yearning with love. So we tell people, if you pray to Amman or pray to God, whatever you want to call him, Allah, Jesus, that same God is in the children and in the women and in us. Same God. And to respect women, we'll ask the men, okay, do you love your mother? Yes, I love my mother. Do you respect her? Yes. You respect your sister? Yes. So I say, very good. Your wife is also a mother, is also a sister, is also a daughter. So your wife is a mother, your mother is also your mother. So it's same status as mother. So you must give that equal respect. So bringing it to cultural and religious lens sometimes helps the situation. And the whole idea is to change the mindset and the behavior of families at home to live in cohesion, live in peace, learn to give and take, because everybody have different characters. So the challenges, uh, especially at home, I think is the biggest challenge, because staying home, work ethic, mental health issues is not easy. If you're alone as a student, it's tough. If you're at home with your husband, wife, and the children are jumping up and down from morning till night, and there's not enough money, and you can't go out, there's limited movement, there's isolation, still. So all these, even with the internet, you still feel isolated, because nothing like going out and meeting friends and shaking hands and giving hugs. And if grandparents are here, you can't meet them. That's another stress again. Because grandparents miss you. So all these things taking into consideration, again, like I said, your question, I cannot give one answer. There are so many layers to it. So I hope that kind of addresses that.
Absolutely. The most interesting part of your answer was when you spoke about the spiritual practice of seeing divinity in every being and being thankful for giving the opportunity to be served. I think that's an incredible thought, and that's the thought that needs to drive humanity these days. If we were to bring back the olden times, if we were to bring back the peace, that's the thought that should drive the humanity. Because with everything that's happening around the world, we need more people who have that sort of mindset. Thank you so much for sharing that insight with us. It did give me chills when I was actually listening to you when you were talking about it. That I could relate that a lot to the situation that's going on these days. Karthik, do you agree to that? You have a similar set of challenges as what just PG explained, or do you have any further challenges than what was explained earlier?
Yes, whatever Jaspreet said is perfect. So we have similar challenges, but what we are dealing with mostly is international students and also stranded visitors. Now, the different challenges, most of them want to get back. The tourists who came here to visit family or kids, or or as a tourist, they want to get back, and there is only limited options left. There were 7 flights planned before, and now there is a 8 flights planned back home to India. So they have almost spent their money here, and they don't know, and they have to renew their tourist visa. Some of them, and it's expensive as well. And they are living with the family. Those who are living with children is okay, but those who came as a tourist, sightseeing trips, and them, they all want to get back, and giving them a pack of groceries or food packets is not sufficient. It's very hard, very challenging when we try to speak to them. We try to calm them down. Nothing is good for them except a ticket back home, and they're ready to pay for the ticket. But unfortunately, because the borders is closed, and there's no international air travel like before, so we are in that situation. That set of people is getting it's becoming more challenging to deal with day by day, because whatever we provide them, whatever comfort we provide them is not enough. Either groceries or accommodation assistance, because they are mostly elderly. They are not happy to go and stay in someone else's house, and we can't afford to pay rent. Like Jasbir ji very well said, we don't have any funding provided to us from the government, because if to be on the right side, the government also didn't plan for this. There is no funding structure for COVID, because COVID happened and took us by storm all of a sudden. The government will help eventually, but right now what we are facing, we are not getting any funding. It's the community which is funding. Every single one of them, the amount of people who have given to us, in providing these groceries, who have contributed us, they mention very explicitly, don't put my name anywhere. Don't thank me, don't tag me in Facebook. This is even it's a $10 or $100. They give us, they silently donate us, and they say we don't want to be thanked anyway, we're just trying to give back what we can. So because of those funding, we are able to survive, we are able to give back. Like what Jasbir said, temples, gurdwaras, mosques, they are all facing hardship, because they also have a hefty overheads to pay, either rent or mortgage, or running costs. Those costs didn't disappear, they still have to pay. But what disappeared is the donations from the community, donations from the devotees who go to the temple or gurdwaras or mosques. They are not going there, and so there is no donations coming in, and they are facing financial hardship as well. But on top of facing this hardship, they are still providing this support. Without these organizations, without these temples and gurdwaras and mosques and churches, it would have been very difficult. But because this backbone is there, this faith groups and this organization, this cultural groups is there, various cultural groups, we can't shrink by naming few. Every single organizations and not-for-profit organization have contributed in some form or other. Everyone have donated their money, time, volunteered their services in some way or the other. Because of them, we could work on this, we could support some in some capacity, and that's how we are sustaining now. And Jasbir ji will agree with me when I say this. Jasbir ji or myself, we are just faces of thousands of people who are working behind, without any expectations, without any name. They don't want even to share their name. They just come. When I get a request for delivery of groceries, I put it on the group, and someone will say, I will go and drop it. The person who get the groceries doesn't know who this person is, and the person who's delivering, the volunteer who's delivering the grocery, doesn't know about the student or anything. They just go and give their time, and they go and donate it, and they go and deliver it. We can't thank them enough. We just lucky and blessed to show our faces outside, representing them. And so we have challenges, but because of all these people behind us, we are successfully facing those challenges and moving forward and supporting in whichever capacity we can. I hope that I answered the question.
Absolutely. I think the essence of what you said was what's driving all of us to do this is a more divine cause. COVID 19 or you or me was just a reason, but what's driving all of this is a more divine cause to service humanity, and that's what needs to sustain more. That was really well said. And now that we are a part of a community who's watching you do this, who's been noticing you that you've been doing all of this. So, what's the role that we as a community need to play to help you with this divine cause, to help you tackle these problems, or to help you do this in a better way, or what is it that the community needs to how can it play its part? Just PG, what do you think?
I think before I answer the question, I also want to say the positive side of this COVID-19 because before that, I got no time. Now everybody
Ah,
a lot of time. And the positive side, there were a lot of positive stories as well from dads and mom that I'm connecting more with my son. I have one of the fathers. He's from Kannada, South India, and he says that previously I never got time to send or pick up my son from the kindergarten, and this time he said I go and pick my son up from school and come back, and my son is so happy, that Papa is there for him to pick him up, and there's created more bonding in between families or among families, and especially the men. There's positive stories where they start to see that it's not easy. My wife stay at home whole day. She is never sitting down, either doing this, doing that, looking after the kids. So it's not easy, and some are also helping and getting used to helping things at home and bonding with their kids and their spouses. So I think that's a good part of it. It has created a space where now people can sit back and reflect on life and say, gosh, all we needed was one small little molecule germ to bring the whole world to their knees. Just one small little thing. So to me, I'm reminded of God. God say, don't play a fool. I don't need one rich or big superpower. I need one small little molecule of germ to shut the whole world down. So
True.
for them, the reflection for me, gosh, that's how powerful this small thing. You can't even see. It's got no shape. You can't see. Like a microscope, maybe you can see a small thing. But the whole world is brought to its knees. Suddenly everybody has to stay home. Some people started praying more. Some people develop their self or spiritually, or learn new cooking skills, or start creating more, play things at home with the children and all that. So good things are also happening at the same time. You're able to reflect and be with your family. Now, coming back to the question, what the community can do to help what we are doing, is that your question?
yes, what's the part that we as a community needs to play?
I think as a community, like after this, I would definitely want to, get in touch with Katiji and see how we can work together. Because I
Sure.
think a lot of are working wherever we are working in our groups, in our cohorts. But if we can also, look at each other and say, hey, I know you're doing that, I'm doing that, I got this, I got that, but I don't have that thing. Can you share me how you do it? Even if you don't want to give me, show me what you did, and I'll show you what I did here, and we can share ideas, possibly share resources. You see,
Yes.
and once that happens, we can operate at an easier level and reach out to more people. And like what community is already doing during this lockdown is coming forward and donating. Like what Katiji say, even $10, $2 doesn't matter. It's not the amount you give, is the thought that counts. That how much you give doesn't matter, is a thought. Whether you give $1, $2, whatever you can afford. We're not asking you to give thousands. Whatever you can afford. You don't buy rice, buy flour, whatever you can give. Even laptops or fridge or accommodation. So there's so many things. But if the community can come together or even create some platform where anybody can come in, like how Karthik has organized with the students, they just throw in and everybody. And I also, when I wanted to give away a fridge, and I had a student who was a victim of family violence, and he needed a place. So I put it up in an international student group, in every group, and I got some people coming forward, which is fantastic because there are a lot of people out there. We don't know what is available until we don't create that media connection with them through social media or Facebook or whichever we can, we won't know. So I think what community can do is support some the work that people are doing. Doesn't matter how much the work. It's easy to condemn. You can be doing 100 good things, and suddenly one thing you do not correct, they will pull you all the way down.
Yes.
That's some of the Indian mentality. I'm so sorry, but that is reality. So we always say, look at the good that somebody has done. Even in my work where I work in Anglicare, the bosses are very good. If I can't get something done, before they, tell me what I've not done well, they will tell me three things I've done well. Then they tell me, this one thing need to improve. They'll tell me three good things first, then they'll tell me this one thing, you are a bit, we can help you. And I won't even say you're not going well. Say, let me help you to make it better also. So doing a lot of positive reinforcement helps a person or even a child or even a community or husband or wife, want to do good. Because I think the important thing is mindset. In Punjabi, they call it need. Need means with what intention? What's your intention behind doing this? If your intentions are good, the outcome will be good and will last long. If my intentions are ego, show off, it will last for a while. After a while, it will drop because ego will come in and give us a slap on the face and we fall down flat face. So very importantly, what's the intention behind what we are doing is important. So it's not easy even with the sick of support for family violence. It took a 5 years, money out of my own pocket to slowly run whatever I could do, make things pay here, pay there on my own from my salary, part time go and do Uber just to do extra income to make things happen. So all these thing is important. So for a community, I think if we can work across communities and share resources is important, and try to break these barriers of you and me, or they are doing it, is their job. If everybody take on that, see beyond the community, see the humanity, then I think like that, there's a saying, if all these get together, the hunger in the world can finish, because there are millions of meals going on everywhere, from the Sikh, Indian, all the different faiths. So many meals are going in millions, but only there is no coordinating body. Again, to get a coordinating body, everybody want to fight for the position. That's another problem. So how we can fight? Sorry, how we create something where there's no position, but everybody is together? Because whenever there's a position, there's a saying of the chair. You see, everybody look after the chair. But if there's no chair to sit on, you got to stand and work. Nobody want to stay there too long. When there's too much of money, mindset thing. So intention, I think, is important to have the right intention, the right aims and motives and visions that end of the day we want to serve them. And it's not just us. We want to train more people. Like what Kathy said, it's not me. Behind us, there are thousands of people doing all the work. It's all teamwork. I alone cannot do anything. So having that mindset and attitude, I think, is important, and community need to acknowledge that. It's easy to sit on the laptop, and be a keyboard warrior and pass negative comments. It's easy, but to be on the ground and take time away from your family, and you go and deliver some food, you get a fine because you made a wrong turn or you went a bit of the speed, and the volunteer quietly keep the fine and go home, never tell anybody. So that thing you don't hear. But something goes wrong, we must have that positive mindset. So how community can help? I think there are many ways, but we need to brainstorm on what are resources we have and how we can work together to share the. You don't want to share the resources, share ideas. End of the day, I am worried that you will steal my secret. You worried I'll steal your secret. But if I'm serving humanity, who cares? The more you take, the more I know you will help. But to me, God knows that He used me a little instrumental to help something that has become big. So I hope that addresses the issue. Yeah.
Absolutely, Jasbir. What do you think about it, Karthik? What do you think that we as a community can do to help your divine cause?
Touching on what Jaspreet ji just mentioned, yes, there are some people, some people who find negatives, in anything what others do. It's human nature. I do that as well sometimes. We can just see someone and then pick on someone. Oh, they're not doing this right. I could have done better. We all have that things. But when it comes to community service, like what Jaspreet said, if somebody is doing it with a proper intent, they're going to do it for long and they're going to do it in a much better way. And if somebody is doing it with different intent, either to promote themselves or for some other purpose, they can't sustain that long, because how long they can just keep doing it for ego or anything. They're going to fall and they're going to go away. But regardless, whatever the intent is, whoever is doing it, they are doing something. Whoever is contributing even a dollar or even a minute for the community, and in terms of service, that service should be appreciated. What their intent is, we wouldn't know. They could be doing it at the best of their intent or the worst of their intent. We wouldn't know. But the end is benefiting the community. That's how I see it. So I think the community should encourage anyone who does anything. A child which goes out and says something good, that should be encouraged. It's someone who's giving their time, that should be encouraged. Someone who's giving their money, that should be encouraged. Whoever is doing anything for the benefit, for the betterment of the community, a service should be encouraged, regardless of the purpose what they're doing it for. And how they can contribute in terms of it. Right now, we need money. Right now, every organization, every temple, every church, every mosque, every gurdwara needs this donation. Every organization, because they're not, I'm not representing any of them. I'm not telling on their behalf, but I'm seeing it from outside as a spectator, and I'm only surprised to see how they are able to contribute without funding coming in. So, community can give either time or financial support by donations. No one has asked for donations. Because the organizations also knows it's a very tough time for everyone else as well. So many of them have lost their jobs. So many of them are they are not in a secure position. They are unsure about what will happen to their job tomorrow. There are so many difficulties the community is facing as well. That's why you haven't seen anyone come out for a fundraising drive. So if you are able, please contribute in either financial assistance or in your time or in your expertise. If you are able to contribute in some way, please contribute. And this is the time. This is very important time, and the community, the most vulnerable in the community needs it. It's not the best of the people need it. The most vulnerable in the community need it. Be it a student or a family violence victim or a stranded tourist who has come from the foreign land and just stuck in this land. Whoever it is, they are the most vulnerable, and they need it. So please don't wait till someone requests you. Feel free to find your own organization or a faith group or a religious shrine and try to contribute in some form or other, either by volunteering for them or by donating time for them or donating money or by donating your expertise. That's most important. That's how I see it. How the community can contribute and also encourage and motivate us. That is very important. Every day when we get a good message and a positive message, not a thank you message. I'm not after a thank you message. I think Jaspreet also will agree with me. A motivating message, which drives us. Okay, we can wake up and look forward to do something more, contribute more. I think that's what we need.
That's exactly what we are trying to drive here, Karthik. A steer of positive change in the way people think, in the way people come out and start playing their parts in this tough time and making a difference to the society. It was a great pleasure to have you both. I personally did learn a lot of things at the end of this interview. Thanks a lot to Mr. Jaspreet for all the knowledge that you imparted and all the experiences that you shared. And Karthik, it was an immense pleasure to have you host you both. I think perhaps we must do another episode another day where we can share more ideas, brainstorm ideas, have our viewers to come out and support us with their thoughts and take this more forward.
Sure.
I just want to
So
add
before,
something.
yeah,
Sorry. Just want to add something
sure.
because right now the numbers of family violence is increasing within the Indian community. When I say Indian, includes Indian, Sikh, all the two different books, all are increasing. So equality is important, but equity is important. Equality, yes, give everybody the same. I carry 10 kg, you carry 10 kg, or let's say, for example, there is a, if I were to just use an example, there is a wall. Okay, I'm watching football over a wall. I have a, a, a stool that high. I will be standing that high to see. I can see across the wall. Then my wife is shorter than me. She has the same size stool, but she won't be able to see over the wall. Maybe she can see a bit here. Then my son, my daughter, they are shorter. If I give them the same size stool, they will only be here. They cannot see over. So that is not equal. That is not equity. That is all. You say, okay, equality. I give everybody same height stool. But if I'm taller, I have a shorter stool. My wife is shorter than me. She have a higher stool. My son and daughter are shorter. I give them a bit more higher stool. So when we stand up and four of us are watching the game, you can see four faces equally coming out and able to see the game. But what is behind that is different level of support given to the need of the person to create that equity. That's important. So it's not say equal, yes, but if I know my son or my daughter or my wife or my husband need that extra help to come to the same level, that is called equity. So we need to be aware, and we know that one woman is killed every week in Australia. That is a step. Some months it goes higher, but things are happening in the space which is very sad, and it affects the children, it affects the whole family. If husband is angry, wife angry, children be affected. Children upset, wife affected. Wife affected, husband. Anyone within the nucleus of a family, everybody will be affected. It's very normal. It's a nucleus of the family. It's like a tree. You break any branch, the root will still feel the pain. Because they're all part of one tree, one family. So just putting it out there, there is help out there. If you need help, I believe, Chris, you can put it up later, all the different numbers they can call our watch. They can call our number if they need any help. Of course, if you have an emergency, please call the police. 000, they will guide you where to go. There's Beyond Blues. If you are stressed, you can Google Beyond Blues, the number, if later you want to give them on your website, or they can call us. It's always available. The whole idea is we will let you know that you are not alone. There are people out there with a listening ear who will listen without judging you and will believe your story and let you decide what you want to do with your life. So you're not alone. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
That's the message of the hour, that you're not alone. And also viewers who are watching it, my apologies if we took a bit more than expected, but thanks a lot for all your time. Let us thank Mr. Jasbirji and Mr. Karthik for all the knowledge that they've imparted throughout this conversation and drive this positive change. And we hope that the good days are around the corner. Thanks a lot, viewers. Thanks for joining us today.
I want to thank
Vamshi.
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks,
Ji.
Thanks for having us, and thanks Jasbir Ji and AUS Tamil TV for taking us to the community. Thanks for your generous support, in showcasing what we are doing and how the community can contribute as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I want to say again, thank you to all. And as my Tamil friends in Singapore have taught me, always say Nandri and Vanakkam. And of course, Namaskar. And Sat Sri Akal to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.